I want to welcome you and say thank you for joining us tonight. Last year we were in Qatar, Dr. Jabbra and I, attending a alumni chapter event. And while having lunch, we started talking about things and we discussed the customer service at LAU. We talked about serving other service, and Dr. Jabbra started to tell me things about this topic. And it was really fascinating what he told me, and it really touched me how much he had notion about this subject and how much it meant to him. So I said, Dr. Jabbra, do you mind, presenting something about this topic to our alumni? So he said, with pleasure. And here we are tonight, and Dr. Jabbra, thank you very much. We look forward.
Thank you very, very much, Abdullah. Good evening to all of you. I am so happy to be with you tonight to talk about a topic that is so close to my heart. And the title is puzzling, because in our modern world, the drive is for individual success. It's me, and after me, c'est le déluge. So let me tell you why I became so fascinated by this. It's because, and this is one of the reasons why I joined LAU, it's because the notion of service, serving others, is one of the pillars, not only of the philosophy of this institution, but also the mission of this institution. This institution is based on a very, very strong mission. And the four elements of this mission are as follows. We're committed to excellence in everything we do. We are inclusive. We don't discriminate. What is important for us is the quality. We don't discriminate on the basis of religion or politics or socioeconomic status. We dedicate ourselves to the education of the whole person. It's not only academics, but as well, it's the personal growth, the personal maturity of the individual, and the noble notion of service. It's very, very, in fact, it's crucial to what we do in life. And these four elements, of course, must be guided by, informed by, undergirded by a very, very robust ethical compass. And so I firmly believe that what gives meaning to our life is serving others. In fact, my life has been about service. And I'll tell you why this notion came to me. When I was in the elementary school, I loved to study. And I had a very, very live memory. Mémoire d'âne, comme on dit en français. But I noticed something that really bugged the hell out of me. That the teachers used to come into the classroom, and they always thought that they were the shadow of God on earth. That I am the teacher. What do you know? And we sank or swam on what we were able to do. And I always ask myself about the question, I am a human being. They are a human being. Why are they so condescending to those students who needed help, who needed some attention, who needed some caring? And I got to the secondary school and the college, College Oriental in Zahlik, and I was very much affected by a genius of a professor who was absolutely absolutely great. And one of his characteristics, over and above being really brilliant, was the fact that he was humble and paid attention to every single student in the classroom. And anyone who needed some help, who needed to be served, he was ready for them, no matter at what time of the day, no matter at what time of the evening. And that impressed me tremendously. And I used to go out of my way to really assist students, to serve my classmates, especially those who really wanted some help. And I used to be good in taking notes. So I always shared my notes with the students. And I got to Saint Joseph, the law school, École de Droit. And our professors at that time, in the mid-60s, late 60s, they were French. They were brilliant. But again, they came into the classroom and they thought of themselves as being the shadow of God on earth. They were so condescending, but those who were brilliant did extremely well because they were brilliant. The professors were brilliant. But they never paid attention and cared for those who need to be cared for. And that stayed with me, and I went into my PhD program in the United States, and my goal really became clear to me that I needed to dedicate my life to teaching, to serving others, to caring for others. And when I graduated, I had the choice between two jobs. The first job was a university job, and it paid $10,000. The other job was with Metropolitan Insurance in Washington, D.C., which paid $15,000 in 1972. But I just, $5,000 difference, you know, that was a lot of money. So I finally decided to stick with education. And the rest is history. And when Abdullah asked me to talk about this notion, I said, this is so dear to my heart, I will do it. But I didn't know what I was going to say to you. The fact that you're here tonight clearly indicates to me that you are either involved in serving others, be it off the job or on the job, or you're planning to do so. And those who ask the question, why, you're here tonight to listen to what I have to say. You may completely dismiss it, or you might say, well, this guy makes some sense anyway. And I want to read with you an introduction, very, very brief, for someone who didn't have time for anything. Can we have it, please? As I said, please listen carefully to this quote of someone who would love to serve others, but somehow can't find time because all revolves around him, because all is about him. He is the center of the world. And he's talking to his wife. Okay, Ellie, I need to get this book to my editor. Plus, I'm not remotely prepared for that very big meeting on Tuesday. One of the kids is in a show on Thursday, and the shower is still leaking. I have to do my taxes. I really like to lose those 10 pounds I recently gained. And it would be nice to actually spend a moment or two with you, Ellie. I have about 3 dozen emails to return. And we really must do something about the weird way the dog smells. Oh, I almost forgot that one of the cars has been recalled. And I should bring it in, and that light in the other car is on again. But what I really like to do is get a new car. And that new BMW is really nice. And I have to try and be like Gandhi. End of quote. Why do we need to serve others? The reason why we need to serve others, ladies and gentlemen, dear colleagues, is because serving others is a key to our personal success, to our personal satisfaction in life. That's very, very important. Secondly, there's no doubt in my mind now, the world over, that the notion of service is in now. In fact, I was in the United States not too long ago, and I saw an ad that brings to the memories of people, great people, in what they did. They used the memories of those people to push the notion of service. And they talked about three people. They talked about Gandhi and what he did for his India. They talked about Mother Teresa and what she did in Calcutta. And they talked about John Kennedy and what he did through the Peace Corps in order to push the notion of serving others. But what is all the fuss about serving others? Why are we so concerned about it? Well, we are concerned about it again because it's a key to our personal satisfaction, success in life. And the definition is very simple. Very simple. Take time and dedicate at least some of it to good causes, to serving others, to participating in helping others. But why is this simple definition so daunting? It is so daunting because there are so many obstacles that prevents us as human beings from doing that we need to do, all of us. That is to serve others, to care for others. And one of them that grips a lot of people throughout the world is the lack of purpose in life. This is very, very important. Very important. Ladies and gentlemen, carving out, discovering, determining a purpose for our life is absolutely crucial. And it is absolutely necessary to give us the opportunity to serve others. And if you take a look at great people throughout history, those people had a great purpose in life. And because of that purpose, they did great things in life for humanity, for others, which is very, very important. Further to that, having a purpose in life is a calling. It's a calling because it gives us really passion, momentum, elan to do great things in life, and one of them is to serve others. Very, very important. And some of them say that if you have a purpose in life, that purpose will guide your body, your soul, your behavior, entire behavior. And there is a chance then that you might be a Gandhi. But if, so goes the statement, if you allow your ego to stand in your way, the chances are that you will become a megalomaniac. The chances are that you become another Hitler. That's the power of having a crystal clear purpose in life that's going to give us the passion not only to do well our job, but to dedicate some time to serve others so that others may have a better life. It's all about the other, not about ourselves. Until it becomes all about ourselves. And I'll address that a little later. If we have a purpose in life, that purpose opens up a vista of opportunities that are going to help us succeed in life and serve others. And that's very, very important. That purpose in life will require of us, certainly, to be a better human being. To be a better human being. That's very, very important. Secondly, it requires of us to do better on a daily basis, every second, every minute, every hour. To do better what we do. It requires of us to share our skills with others. To dedicate our talents, not only to be individually successful in life, but to make sure that we help others be successful in life. Very, very important. Very important to keep that in mind. It helps us, that very clear purpose in life, it really helps us when we're in the thick of things, think of others before we take action. Think of the implication of a decision we make on the lives of others that we're working with, on the lives of others who are helpless in society. And you can read the newspaper every day and say, yeah, it is true. It is true. Because sometimes decisions are driven without paying any attention, are driven really by personal aspirations. And the challenge of human beings, ladies and gentlemen, has always been that balance that we draw between our individual success and the caring for the others. The caring for the other. It's very, very important. And those elements really reinforce, gives strength to that crystal clear purpose that we established, we carved out for our lives, individual lives. Now, if we don't have a clear purpose in life, those elements that I mentioned will not be open for us. And unfortunately, that would lead to a personal situation that we call stagnancy. That we become really stagnant in life. What does that mean? What does it mean to become, as a human being, stagnant in life? Well, that's pretty serious stuff. It means a lot. It means first that as individuals, we're no longer focused. That's one. It means that if we're not focused, if we have no purpose in life, it means that we will become indecisive. That's very serious. If we don't have a purpose in life, and we're not sharing for others, we begin to have doubt about ourselves and our existence on this earth. It means that we're progressing slowly but surely toward helplessness. It means that with helplessness, we become very cynical in life. And we're bordering a state of depression. That's very serious in life. So not only we become incapable of serving others, but incapable of serving ourselves. So as you can see, a simple statement, take some time off to serve others, becomes at times practically impossible. And in order to fight that state of stagnancy, that state of becoming or being stagnant, we need some help. We need some help in terms of really reassessing our values in life. We need some help in terms of reassessing our mission. We need some help perhaps to change our mission because it's not working out. It's leading us into a brick wall. It means that perhaps we have to change completely our direction. Our sense of direction may have been wrong. It means possibly that we have to change company. That the people we're going with, the group of people that we're working with, is the wrong group. So as you can see, while the statement is very easy, yeah, take some time and help some others, it's a daunting statement in its simplicity because there are some very serious obstacles to doing what we need to do. Now, with the clear purpose, with the four elements that I mentioned, in terms of being a better person, doing, better what we do in life, in terms of putting the other ahead of us, so to speak, in terms of thinking about them before we make a decision that is going to impact their lives. If we have those, just think for a moment. The sky is the limit in terms of realizing our potential as human beings. And what do we mean by potential? A potential really is this inexhaustible bundle of possibilities that become available to us in terms really of not only being successful individually, but in terms of using our potential, whatever that potential is, to make sure that others are successful as well. Very, very important in life. And it is within this context that I always maintain that whatever position you have in life, it is very, very important to be in a continuing state of positive discontent. To be always in a positive state of discomfort. Because if we become very comfortable and very blasé about what we do in terms of these dual: individual success, serving others, contributing to others, which is very, very important. Very important. So that positive state of discomfort, that positive state of discontent is not a bad thing to be in, because it means to us that we continuously need to do better, to work harder in order to be better human beings. Very, very important. Let me take some specific examples. Examples that really I experienced myself. John Smith was very young person, very well educated. He wanted to be a professor. And he did become a professor. But his colleagues always noticed that this professor was very tough with his students, but very caring for his students. That this professor knew a lot, but was very humble. That John Smith went out of his way to help his students and to be cooperative with his colleagues, to be collaborative with his colleagues, to care for his colleagues. And as a result of that, John Smith became the chair of the department. Very, very important. He continued to exhibit the same characteristics. He continued to live the same features that people used to describe him. And people trusted him. Why? Because not only was he concerned about excelling in his discipline, but he wanted others, he wanted other colleagues to excel in their disciplines as well. And he went on to become really a great professor, very, very much well-liked by his colleagues, by his students. The other person that I had experience with was a president of a university. He was selected as president at a very young age. He was quite arrogant, full of himself. He was condescending with people, dismissive of people, never hired somebody who was smarter than he is. And he lasted for 1 year as president. He was booted out because the community could not really afford, the university community could not really afford to live with it. So he ended up being a failure because he cared only about himself. Because he was the center of the world. Because he was so full of himself that other people did not exist, because he had the answer to everything. Let me take a couple more examples that I read about, that I did not really have any truck with, but I read about. Anne Mincy. I don't know how many of you know the name. She was a lowly employee in Chicago in the office of Redken, which is a division of L'Oreal USA. But when she began to work, she impressed the hell out of people. Why? Because she had a very warm personality, that yes, she wanted to be successful, but she felt that she could not be successful by herself, that she wanted also others to be successful. And she climbed the ladder. She became a vice president for global communication of Redken L'Oreal USA. And she wrote a book. I urge you to read it. A fascinating book, wherein she concentrated on the incredible force that stems from within us as individual human beings. And her motto was, "You're glowing. You're a star, wherever you are." And urged colleagues all the time to establish some symbiotic relationship with each other, to love their product. And she always said, if you care for people, if you care for the product that you're selling, if the customer realize that you care for them, they will never let you down. They will never let you down. It always focused on the incredible power of the inner sanctum of each and every one of us to serve others, to make sure that humanity is better by the little thing we do over and above our job. The last example I want to give you is someone by the name of Kerry Cabot. This Kerry Cabot spent about 35 years going from one organization to another, talking to people, talking to salesperson, talking to managers, talking to owners of corporations, of businesses, etc., etc. He came to the conclusion as follows. He rejected all the theories that are taught in business school. And he said, look, life is very simple. In order to be successful as a salesperson, as a director, as a manager, there are 4 or 5 characteristics that are very simple. Either you have them and you learn about them, or forget about it. People are not going to like you, and people are not going to buy from you. The first one really he talked about is the love for people. You need to really that incredible ability to accept people, to care for them, to share with them your talents, and to help them become as successful as you are. Very, very important. The second thing he said, you know, you can fool people once or twice or 3 times. But what people like, your colleagues or your customers, they would like honesty and trust. And he said there's no need to theorize about this. It's very simple. Either people trust you or don't. Either people are going to say that you're an honest person or not. You don't have to write treatises about this. It's very simple. The last thing he talked about is really something that is very, very important. Very important. You have to take pride in the people you hire and provide them with the opportunity to succeed. And once they succeed, you need to have them recognized. It's very, very important, very simple principle. We all have a little ego, not a big one, but we have a little one. And we try to control it. Because if it becomes dominant, it will ruin us. And we like to really be told every once in a while, thank you, job well done. He said, sometimes a word can make a whole difference in the life of a human being. Very, very important. And so, ladies and gentlemen, let me conclude, and I'm sure you must have a lot of comments, a lot of questions. Let me conclude by saying that it is very, very important in our lives to give, to serve, to care for. And I always said that perhaps the best gift in life is the gift of giving of ourselves, so that others may have a better life as well. That's very, very important. And perhaps it is, maybe it would be better to serve than being served. Perhaps. It's very, very important. Very important. Thirdly, I think we as a human beings we were created in the image of God. It doesn't really matter what religion we belong to. If we are created in the image of God, how can we say no to our brothers and sisters? We have to be logical with ourselves. And at times, it's very difficult to be logical with ourselves. Because we can we can really find rationales for everything we do. It's very, very important. It is not about ourselves. It is about the others. One of the stories they say about Detroit, when Detroit went belly up, so to speak, and you know, there's a controversy about that, but I'll mention it anyway. Some of the analysts said Detroit was very, very successful as long, the auto industry we're talking about, as long as they cared about the city, what was good for the city. Certainly they wanted to make profit, but they were driven by what was good for the city. And the moment they became self-centered, they forgot about the city. And this is one of the reasons, given by some analysts, one reason why Detroit went belly up. And they had to readjust. They had to readjust, which is very, very important. Can I have the conclusion, please? And I want to read it with you. Where is the conclusion? Yeah, okay. Nothing you do in this life is all about you. Your career is not all about you. The company you work for is not all about you. Your family is not all about you. Didn't Jabbra say, أَوْلَادُكُمْ لَيْسَ لَكُمْ? It's very, very important. Your friends are not all about you. It's always about the other person. You are one person, and the world is made up of billions of people. You are always going to find more answers and more satisfying answers when you look outside yourself than just inside yourself. When you serve others in any capacity, when you provide value, help, and support to others, this will provide you with more spiritual, psychological, financial, and other benefits than any self-improvement concept out there. The way to achieve your greatest potential and to really help yourself is to start helping and serving others, then it will become all about you. Thank you. Comments or questions, because I don't have the answer to everything.
Well, Dr. Jabbra, your theme was giving of yourself. Where does philanthropy fit in?
I think this is very, very important. Look, all religions call for it. Islam as well as Christianity, they talk about giving money to others so that others may have a better life. And I think philanthropy is very, very important. Those who give to universities, those who give scholarships and financial aid is very, very important. Why? Because they're trying to serve others, to help others, to care for others. In fact, this is the pitch I make when I go meet some potential donors. I talk to them not only about the responsibility, but the obligation that we have towards others. And those students who get financial aid or scholarships, I talk to them. I say, someone managed to care about you. When you graduate and become very successful in life, just think about putting another person through school, through university. So it's very, very, it's part of it. I'm not talking about only, the psychological, if you wish, attitude, but also the financial one, and that is required by all religion. Islam asks that at least a minimum of 2.5% of your income be given to charity. Any other comments? I'm really interested in your comments. Yes.
I would like, first of all, to thank you very much for this very inspiring lecture. And allow me to say that I'm very impressed with your knowledge of psychology. As a psychologist, your knowledge of what it takes to do in life, in order to have a satisfying life, is very impressive. And I'm not just saying that because you're my boss. But what I would like to ask you is, there is now a movement in psychology about spirituality. One of the theories is that human beings have lost their spirituality, and that it is very important to regain that. So I was wondering, what are your views on that? Not religion, but the spiritual aspect of human beings.
Yeah. I was in the United States not too long ago, and I was in the Gulf, not too long ago. And one of the things, really, I love to talk to young people. One of the things that really they focus on, even sometimes without knowing it, without realizing, that there is a deep-rooted longing for something that goes beyond materialism and material things. And I think sometimes we fail in recognizing that and providing the opportunity for them to flourish and grow and allow that feeling really to make a difference in the life of that individual. So I fully agree with you that young people are really waiting for the opportunity to have someone speak to them about this. Not to brainwash them, but to talk about the possibility, if not the probability, to have an enriching life by allowing this longing to manifest itself, no matter how, but to manifest itself.
Well, I want to add one thing. The utmost pleasure is to give.
Yeah.
I think the most pleasant thing in life is the pleasure to give. That's all.
Thank you. Thank you.
I like the idea of positive discontent with all
I fully agree with you. I fully agree with you.
I would like to add an experience that I had passed through. When I went to England to do my master's degree, the professor did an interview with me before I went into the course. So once I told her that I was a volunteer at the Lebanese Red Cross, that I serve in helping people, the moment I said I was a volunteer, she said, I want you to be in the course. So they really appreciate being like a volunteer or serving people or the community. But the problem is that in Lebanon, I don't find the same way, like approach. So I don't know. I hope that
Let me, this is a very, very important point that you raised. Let me make a couple of comments. The first one, if you take a look at what's happening in Lebanon in terms of the NGOs, we have at the present time a lot of NGOs which are really involved in good causes. It's very, very important. This university has established really a unit within student affairs that we call Outreach and Civic Engagement Unit. And our young people, our students are so excited about it. And they're engaged in a lot of good causes. They go out of their way to give of their time, to help others, which is very, very important. So I wouldn't say that nothing is available in Lebanon. I think things are beginning to change. And people, more and more people, if you will, are really engaged in this notion of giving, of making yourself available to help others, of sharing your talents with others, sharing your skills with others. It's very, very important. Very important. You know, I really would like to mention, if I may take a couple more minutes, if you read about great people, look, in the United States, you have a number of Lebanese, of Arab people who really were very, very successful. Joseph Jacobs. I was in a bookstore in the United States and I saw a book. Joseph Jacobs, My History of Entrepreneurship. And somehow I got the book, I read it, and it was a story of the son of Lebanese immigrants who made it big. He was raised in Brooklyn. He made it big. And he established Jacobs Engineering. The name sounds Jewish, but and he made millions and millions of dollars. He had 3 daughters. You know what he did? He called his daughters in and he said, this country has given me the best opportunity in the world. Each one of you will get $5 million. The rest of my fortune, I want it to be spent on good causes in the United States, and I want the whole fortune to be spent within 25 years. Incredible thinking. Incredible. Do you know who wrote Unsafe at Any Speed? Oh, come on. Ralph Nader is an incredible guy. 1965. You should read all the time. 1965, he wrote Unsafe at Any Speed Out of Concern. You know, he came from, his father was Lebanese, his mother was Lebanese. He was born in the United States. He had 2 sisters. He was a brilliant lawyer. His sister was a brilliant anthropologist, Laura Nader, and the other sister was a brilliant political scientist. He decided to dedicate his life, his entire life, to protecting the consumer in the United States, to give. And there was a car in the United States that was put on the market, and the name was Corvair. Not Corvette, Corvair. And he wrote his famous book, Unsafe at Any Speed. Because the dashboards in the United States at that time were used to be made of metal. And there were no really seats, I mean buckles in the car. He was fought by all the car companies. They tried to bribe him. They tried to send him the most beautiful women in the world. They tried to trip him. He wouldn't give up. And as a result, look what we have. Look what we have. Any car in the world now, the seat belts are in it. And the dashboard, they're no longer made of metal. Mother Teresa. You know, Mother Teresa in Calcutta. Just think for a moment. Mother Teresa in Calcutta. Just think for a moment what that means. John Kennedy and the Peace Corps. Now a lot of people don't like the Kennedys. That's fine. But he established something that really grabbed American youth. With his brother-in-law, Southern Shiver, he established the Peace Corps. He told young Americans, go all over the world. Spend a year or two teaching, doing this. Teach for America. Now we have Teach for Lebanon. Teach for America was established by young women who felt that there was discrimination in the United States between, you know, the schools for white that were really absolutely great and really the terrible public schools in East LA, for example. And she encouraged young people to give 2 years of their lives to go teach in those schools and make a difference in their lives. So we have plenty of examples in the world really to help. To not only help, but to enjoy, to take pride in helping. Yes, sir.
I would like to add a comment. What you have mentioned earlier in this lecture is not only key in the success, in the personal success of an individual, but it's rather a key success of a nation as a whole. Because what we can achieve as a nation is when each one of us can extract the best outcome of another is truly what we need these days. Not only in Lebanon, but in all our countries, from Iraq to Syria to Jordan and Palestine. I guess we can achieve greatness if one can use this key and begin with himself first. And we have a lot of power, of undiscovered powers in each and every one of us, and we can achieve a great nation and a better person as well.
Excellent. Thank you. Right on. By the way, Anne, you know, I need to mention something to you about Anne Mincy. She said, if you give and you help, that will give your body food for fortitude. It gives your mind food to be focused. It gives your relationship food to be faithful. It gives your spirit food to be lucid in what you do in life. And it gives your finances food to be productive. Yes, yes.
Dr. Jabbra, most of those gathered tonight are part of the LAU community or LAU extended community. So I think you would agree with me that almost all of us, we have embedded among us the concept of service and of giving, thanks to what we have been exposed to. But it just happened as well that we are tonight in the business building community, and the business, you know, they graduate people, they go out there crunching numbers and go work in not so service oriented, probably sometimes company just oriented by profit. Some of those companies have their own CSR, corporate social responsibility. So my question is, do you believe that CSR is truly genuine service giving oriented or just more of a marketing aspect? And if it is the case, what would you advise those companies so that they have the genuine giving aspect? Thank you very much.
We have an excellent professor of business here. I'd like him to make comments on this. And I'll make my own comments later on, but John?
Sure. Now that you put me on the spot. My name is John McGill, and I'm a professor of business here, also chairman of management and marketing. So what I say will be in that context, okay? There is kind of a reciprocal relationship between self-interest and giving to others. There's a motivational speaker, his name is Zig Ziglar, and he said something once that I think is meaningful in this context. He said, you can have everything in life that you want. You can have everything in life that you want if you'll just help enough other people get what they want in life. So there are, I think recently, something like 6 billion people on the planet. And if you could help every one of these people in some small way, through an invention, idea, anything, just some small way, and each person gave you $1, you would be a very wealthy person with 6 billion people here, each giving you $1.
That's really wonderful, wonderful. You know, one thing I wanted to add to that, you know, people talk about globalization, which is really terrific. I mean, the world is much smaller and all of that. But, you know, I did a lot of research on that, and one of the conclusions, over and above the good aspects of globalization, there is one or two things that are very, very important. If you analyze very carefully the facts about globalization, one of the negative aspects of it, I'm not denying the positive one, but one of the negative aspects of it is the fact that wealth nowadays is concentrated in fewer and fewer countries. And within those countries, wealth is concentrated in fewer and fewer hands. And therefore, it becomes so absolutely essential for us to give, to help, to provide the opportunity for others. I mean, it's very, very important. I mean, we talk about the United States, we talk about the oil-rich countries. If you go in there and begin to look at what's happening, there's a lot of poverty in those countries. A lot of poverty, which is something that we need to be very careful about. Very careful about. Yes.
Hi, my name is Amr Habban, class of 98. So I have a couple of comments, and then I'm gonna throw something just for discussion. First thing about what I heard about Lebanon, that it's very hard to find people who would like to contribute. Now I thought that, but then again, personally, I had an experience with it that I decided to look for it in a more active way. And as you said, there are abundant number of NGOs that are working for it. So in my opinion, when you search for it, you really find more than when you don't. As simple as that. One. Two, about the CSR. The whole concept here about service providing, it's good for social responsibility, but there is a notion of CEOs and bosses and managers as service providers, not only for the customers, but for their employees. And it has a point here with the examples of teachers that you mentioned. They're service providers for their colleagues and subordinates, which is again in helping others. These are two important points. One more thing that I want to throw just to discuss. What you mentioned here, that to truly help yourself is to start by helping others. Now, I believe in that, I live it, I taught it, but just to throw a challenge. There is a thought that in order to be unselfish, you have to be selfish first. So be selfish to be unselfish. What do you think about that?
Well, you know, we can play on the words really in so far. There's no doubt in my mind, and we tell people that, look, you need to be successful in what it is you're doing. That's absolutely essential. Now, if you want to call that selfishness, be careful about the semantic of it. But certainly, in order to be able to help others, you have to help yourself. The French proverb, charité bien ordonnée commence par soi-même. It's very, very important. But it's a question of balance, how you balance these things together. Yes.
Yes, you know, about, you were talking about globalization. I think we are all aware that one of the effects of globalization today is that the rich are getting richer and the poor are getting poorer. You know, this is something we have been observing all over the world. I really want, first of all, to thank you for this wonderful lecture and all the advices you have been giving us. And as you said, that all of us here in this room are servers in one way or another, be it in teaching or in NGOs. But this is wonderful to be so much in such a positivistic atmosphere tonight with you, thanks to you. But unfortunately, and as a psychologist, I would like to say that we are also seeing around us, not at LAU, around us, all over, a rise in narcissism, especially among the young generation today. So doesn't this scare you a little bit when you look at all these narcissistic young people who are really getting more and more into technology, spending hours in front of their screens, away from social relations and relations, full stop, you know? So how does what you were telling us about all this altruism and all this positivism, how does it, you know, correlate with all the rise in narcissism today?
You know, I think this is a very important point you made. I had a discussion not too long ago with a friend of mine about technological advances and what they're doing to the world. And he made a comment that really struck me. He said, while technology and technological advances has brought the world, you know, together, it has set us individually asunder. You know, watch a class, you know, coming out of the classroom. And in the past, we used to come out of the classroom and to talk to each other. Now they come out of the classroom, they can't wait until they use that gadget either to read the messages or to call or to text or whatever. So there is an issue. You know, no one writes letters anymore, which is something that is most valuable. I think technology is with us to stay. There's no doubt about it. I think I personally feel that we as educators have failed in terms of really making sure that our young people use technology as a means rather than as an end in itself. You know, when we were growing up in school, we were always urged to read so that we can really learn the genius of a language and learn to communicate clearly, precisely. Technology doesn't give us that. We need really to make sure that throughout our curriculum, in university, in colleges, in schools, elementary and secondary, that a balance is struck between these incredible, overwhelming technological advances and our individual personalities, our emotions, our feeling with each other, towards each other, which are very, that's what makes us human. And there is a danger despite all the positive contributions of technology, there is a danger that we might be dehumanized by technology. We might become robots.
Abbas Sibai, class of 2008. First of all, I would like to thank you for this lecture. And second, I would like for both of you to calm down and to basically not to feel the guilt of technology and what's happening in 2000, now when we are in 2012, and about the future generation. Because like, for me, basically I graduated in class of 2008, and I always wanted to major in something called non-profit management. But I didn't find a program here in Lebanon to do like non-profit management, and I could not afford to travel abroad. So basically what I majored in, I did a major in banking and finance, and then I did a minor in social work. And I always wanted to work in NGO field and to learn how to merge between the finance and the feeling of serving to others. So I decided back in 2007, during my university years, to establish my own NGO. And then now, in February, it's gonna be celebrating on my 5th anniversary for my NGO. And later, when in 2008, during the commencement here in LAU, I was so happy not about my LAU graduation, but I also was awarded for the TOSH award, which was really, was like my graduation certificate and not my finance or minor in social work. That was my value for LAU, or how to my education was more prospered, and how my NGO was being more focused and more established, and it's called ISO. Basically, and again, I would like to add more about the technology. Lately, and 2 Saturdays ago, I was giving a session for 70 students of grade 6, 7, and 8 in Saida. And these students, they were almost 70 students, and I was talking about leadership and about how they can do a session and all this stuff. And they struck me about how they are quoting Benjamin Franklin, Einstein, they are quoting Abraham Lincoln, they are quoting people that nowadays, people in the age of 40 and 60, they do not even know who are these people and what they have done for humanity. These kids, and I was inspired by their thoughts and ideas. Each of them are trying to build their own innovation with a social cause, based on social cause, based on a social concern, to transfer it into a business. Not just a cause for a certain cause, but how they can survive out of this social concern into climate change. Like a kid, it's like she was in grade 6, and I was talking about how we're gonna solve climate change. And she said by oil. I was really struck about that. And all this example that she gave me, a full study that she were preparing it with the different classmates, 6, 7, and 8, about how to do working about water and how to save water in the toilet flush.
Very good.
And it was really amazing. And she gave me statistics, and all of that was using technology, using internet, using her new Android applications, and how they are treating and sharing with other students. So basically, technology it's not a way we always approach it from us as it's a bad tool, or it's deviating our humanity or losing our hope. But basically, it's a tool for you to exchange more ideas and exchange more and search more. So basically, we have lately we have Wikipedia been looked out for 1 day, and it was all people were annoyed about that just because a resource to run and read more. So I don't say that technology is a bad thing, but actually it's a super.
Very good. Very good.
Hi, my name is Mohammed Mahyo, graduate 96. 2 questions on this subject. Throughout the process of serving others, you need to refuel to keep going. From your experience, what you suggest that fuel would be? That is number 1. And also during the process of serving others, sometimes you feel that you are consumed, and maybe you need some energy, and sometimes you feel that you are abused from others while serving others. So do you really stop, or just keep giving unconditionally?
I think the question of refueling is very, very important. I learned from way back that you don't give up, because to every example of negative behavior, you can find 10 examples of good behavior. And those will give you hope. Will give you hope that sooner or later you will be successful. Are there bad people, on this earth? Perhaps. Well, that's what I meant. But we should never give up. Because as I said, a bad example can be counterbalanced by several good examples. Behavior by people who are really exemplary in terms of serving others and providing the opportunity for others to grow and to do good things.
George Aboud, class of 2002. I graduated as a business marketing with an ego as big as this room, a bit bigger actually. And the only time I was able to control this ego is by serving Earth, not others, till now at least. So serving others or serving full stop, I think it's the biggest cure for ego problems on Earth. Thank you.
Good evening, Doctor.
I was so sure.
Okay, it's on. My name is Dunya. I'm a part-time management instructor. First, I would like to commend to our friend who said that sometimes serving others will get us consumed. Well, I'll tell you, it depends why you are doing it. I mean, if you're doing it in the end, if you're serving others merely for your own success or for your professional success, you will get consumed. But if you're serving others just because you want to serve others, okay, just for the purpose of serving, then you will not get consumed. Because I believe the problem lies in the purpose and meaning. And this is linked to our loss of spirituality. Just like with Maslow's hierarchy of needs, we teach our students that the highest level of self-actualization is to reach your potential. But then Maslow, years after, said that same level is actually the complete self-transcendence of interest. It's to become selfless. I'm not selfless. It's completely to be lost. And finally, I'd like to quote Mother Teresa, who said that live simply so others can simply live. When we're so engrossed in our materialistic world, the formula goes, we will become less spiritual. Less spiritual means we have lost our purpose and our meaning in this life.
Very good. Thank you.
Ahmed Hawab, BS graduate since 1984. I took care of myself outside the Lebanon for the past like 28 years. And then I was nominated to be the GM of one of the reputable and well-known NGO organizations. Just because I'm an IT graduate, I know how to write processes, how to work properly, and then they are asking me to lead this company. And I would like to mention that we are hardly finding volunteers in our institutions. We are hardly finding people that would like to work in non-profit organizations. They need to work in professional organizations. I would rather prefer, and I would like to ask what we want. Work in professional organizations to look care for themselves the same way I took care of myself, but then look for others and then return back to the country as I've returned back to just serve others. I really am wondering for the huge number of attendees coming to attend something called serving, a lecture about serving others. And this is, would like to thank you for this and wish that we can have like
Sorry. Speak loud.
Okay. Thanks for the talk, and I really agree with much of what you say, and helping others has always been vital to me on many levels, but I never related it to the concept of success that you talk so much about. And I was interested to know how you personally define success, because I think it's a very subjective thing.
How do I define success?
Success, yeah.
You know, insofar as I'm concerned, defining success is simply fulfilling the purpose that you've established for yourself. The purpose in life. What is your purpose in life? It's very, very important. As I began by saying, without purpose in life, without clear purpose in life, I think we become really lost. Completely lost. And I think if we establish a clear purpose for our, a roadmap, if you will, and we meet that roadmap, I consider that to be quite a success.
Well, it's on.
So, Abdullah Sheikh, you're coming all the way from Boston to here to listen to you. Good to meet you again. You have mentioned three great names, Gandhi, JFK, and Mother Teresa. I admire those people, and each one has given humanity something on his own way. Some of them gave humanity more than they thought. Others didn't know that they gave humanity after they died. So they died without knowing they became famous, like JFK. He became famous more than he was alive. So serving people or helping people or donating something to people, some people became famous because they served people. A lot of other people did not have the chance to have their names mentioned in this world, especially in our Arab world. And here, maybe because of the system that doesn't help people to be famous like other people did in Europe or USA. So I believe that the system helps a lot, and the structure helps a lot for other people to be mentioned as great people like Gandhi and Mother Teresa and JFK. I would like to mention that Hariri was a great person who we have the honor that he had given humanity and this country a lot, that he has to be mentioned, that he was one of the greatest people in this Arab world. So I would like to see this opportunity to be thankful for whatever he had done to his country and the Arab world. And I hope that everyone deep inside will try to give something, at least within his limits, to humanity and to his country as well. And thank you.
You see, I'm the eternal optimist. And I think if you look anywhere, you'll find good people who are doing well. It's very, very important to keep that in mind. That's what keeps me going. It's the fact that, you look at what's going on and you see a lot of people doing a lot of good things, which is very, very important. Doesn't really matter where. Right, right.
My name is Lina Salam. I work as a trainer in the Lebanese. I work as a trainer in the Lebanese University. Some people tell me that you are not being paid much and only once a year. So, but I feel I am serving the others. I'm giving them from my experience. I'm doing the best. I'm doing hard work. And students are benefiting from me. So this makes me feel happy.
That's great. Really great. Great in terms of your service, but not great in terms of your being paid your due.
But we still have 5 minutes till 8. I have one question for you, Dr. Jabbra, if I may.
I thought you were waiting for the appropriate moment.
You gave me the answer once. Maybe you want to share the answer with the rest. You left Lebanon many years ago, and then you came back after 35 years. What brought you back? And you left your family back in the United States.
Yeah. This is a very, very important question for me. I felt that where I got my education, I was not really discriminated against. In Canada and in the United States, those two countries, the people gave me the opportunity that I never had here in this country. However, in the back of my mind, I always felt that I needed to go back to the country that has given me the best gift in life, and that's life itself. I was born here, I was raised here, and the least I could do is to come back to this region and do a little bit as my share to help people. It's very, very important for me, very important. And as I always said, in Canada, I was the youngest vice president, foreign-born. How can you deny, the merits of a country that would give you, your dues, even though you were born someplace else? The same thing happened to me in the United States. The United States gave me so much. When I went to the United States, I couldn't speak a word of English. My education was all in French. And by the end of the first semester, I received a full scholarship for my PhD. How can you deny the merits of such a country? When I was in Canada, somebody called and said, "We want to offer you a contract. We want to offer you a contract and offer your wife a contract. Please come back to the United States." How can you throw a stone in the well you drank from? But how can you deny the place where you were born, no matter what the problems are, what the challenges are? You were born here, and you owe this country, this region, at least a small chunk of your professional life. I don't know whether
Thank you.